I don't want everybody to think that, because
Yeah.
I was inducted at Fort Thomas, Kentucky, and I went to Camp Hood, Texas. That's where they sent me, and I was there 5 months, and then I shipped out overseas.
Okay.
And took us 30 days to go from San Francisco to Milne Bay, New Guinea. And we was on a ship for 30 days for that trip. And we landed in Milne Bay, New Guinea, and we was there for about 3 or 4 days. Then we moved up the coast to Fitzhaven, New Guinea. And I was there about a year, well, it wasn't quite a year. Then it come down, papers come down that we're moving up with the infantry. There's 6 of us guys. It tells you on that there paper. There's 6 of us guys volunteered to go with the infantry, and we went from there to Morta Island in the East Indies, and that's our plane to go up to the Philippines and raid in the daytime. Then they would come down at night and raid us, and that was about the hottest place I was in. Of course, I went in on D-Day in the Philippines. We went on the third wave up the guys I was with, and I'll try to think. The Boat Island was a rough place to be when I was over there. It was our plane would go up in the middle of the daytime and raid in the daytime. They come down at night and raid us. We was there 2.5 months, and we had 105 alerts and 78 raids. You never forget those things, but it sounds like you're bragging when you're talking about it. That's the reason I didn't care about coming up there. So we was there about 2.5 months, and then the word come down that we were going to meet in Helena, and that's where we met with the convoy before we went into the Philippines. We went in there on D-Day, and my fellas I was with, we went in on the third wave there. We set up ammunition operation, and we didn't have enough equipment to tell on that all about it. And we didn't have enough equipment, but we made it last as long as we could. And we was at the San Narciso, that's where we went in the Philippines. Then we went down the coast to Morta, or where was they, that island? I can't think of the name of that island. Well, Wayne was held out for 2 years. San Narciso, that was the name of the place. Wayne was held out for 2 years, and it was a mountain. We're right at the bottom of this mountain, and it took us 12 days to go from one side of the mountain to the other. And that's where it was pretty hot too during that trip. Then we went on into Manila and Clarksville on B-Day. Then from there, I had enough points to come home to the Philippines, but we couldn't get a ship. The guys I was with, we couldn't get a ship. So we went on to Japan, and I was over there 6 weeks. We landed at San Narciso in the Philippines, in Japan, and then we went up the coast to shoot, I can't think of it. These things I never kept it in my mind. We landed at Otoro in Japan. We went up the coast to Sapporo, and we was there. I was there about 5 to 6 weeks, and then I had enough points to come home, and now I got to come home.
So how long were you in?
I went in 43 and got out. Well, I got discharged December 5th in 45.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit. Were you from Ohio?
I come right across the river from Corbin.
Okay. And then you came back and stayed here after you got out of the service?
No, I moved to Lebanon before I went overseas. I got married a girl from Lebanon, and I moved down there, bought a home there. And then I went away in pro baseball. I played pro ball.
Oh, really?
And,
for who?
Well, I signed with Ridge in 1934, and then I had to go in the service, and I come out. I signed with Washington Senators, and I was with the Washington Senators and Texas Rangers for 15 years. I was with Baltimore 8 years, and I was with the Yankees 2 years, and I was with Milwaukee 4 years. That was my career in baseball.
What position did you play?
Shortstop, short and second. I played a little third base. I was an extra infielder, what I was. I wasn't outstanding, but I just that's good enough to fill in.
Well, now if we talk about your time in the service a little bit, did you join with friends, or what were the circumstances when you
Well,
went in?
there was a bunch from Lebanon went down to Fort Thompson at the same time. I don't know how many there were, about 15 or 20 of us.
And you knew them?
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Some of them were from Franklin, some of them from Waynesville, I guess. I don't know where they's all from, but they're from Warren County, about 15 or 20 of us.
Okay. And did you stay with any of them, or did you all split up?
No, when we shipped out of Fort Thomas to Camp Hood, Texas, I got down there and my paper didn't show up, and they said, well, we don't have your name, your papers here. And I said, well, I can go back home. And they said, no, your papers will show up. So my papers showed up, and we had about 5 months training. That's about all we had then. It was during the early part of the war, and so we shipped out to Motown and East Indies.
Now, when you first went over there, overseas in the South Pacific, was there a lot of action as soon as you got there? Or?
Well, they let an ordnance off of this island when you stopped at Mortai Island. They let an outfit off the ship off there, and they'd come back to us that they got wiped out in a couple of days later. Then we went on to Finch Haven, New Guinea from there. And then I was there about quite a year, and then we moved out of there and moved on to up the coast. And our Navy got control of those islands, the water on the island, and we just bypassed the island instead of having a fight a war on every island. We just bypassed and moved on that way. And when I was on Mortai Island in the East Indies, the Almahera Islands was just miles from where we were, and they had 70,000 Japs isolated on there, and they couldn't get off because we had control of the waters. And every day they come out and wave at us and throw a flag or something. We couldn't do nothing for them, and we just took it up the world on the right side. But I run into one or two guys from Lebanon. In Japan, Charlie Vanderbeek worked for Western Star. I was in the fourth replacement crew in Yokohama. That's where I left Japan when I come home. Charlie come up and turned me around, and I was in line to get a meal for meal time at the time, and I ran into him with it. And there's a colored boy named Murphy from Lebanon. I ran into him in Finch Haven, New Guinea, and somebody else I ran into. Ben Malak, I run into him in the Philippines. That's where I run into him.
Now, what all was at New Guinea? Was that just the Army, Navy? Was everybody there, Marines?
Oh, they had the Army and the Navy and all of them. A little bit before me, they had them all there, and they had us pretty well secured when we got in there.
Okay.
And of course, after that, from island to island we went until we got through the Philippines to Japan.
Okay. Were there Japanese on the island where you were?
Mortai Island, yeah, we had, not me, I mean the infantry, we with the infantry, they had them pushed up in the hill. We had just a little airstrip. Our planes go to the Philippines in the daytime. We started that airstrip in First Avenue and taking care of the guns or anything that got broke down or something like that. We'd work on them for them. Yeah, that was quite a deal there, because it was producing 105 alerts and 78 raids, and 18 nights in a row to bomb straight that never missed a night. And after their planes would release their bombs, our fighters would go up and fight, and we would just get out of the foxholes and watch them fight, and that was a big kick that way. Tokyo Rose used to call down there and say, well, there's about 5,000 Americans killed wouldn't be a casualty, but that was her story, you know, like that. But that's what it amounted to. I mean, oh, we had them whipped all the way as far as that goes, and when we got in there most of the time.
Did most of the guys know that, like you said, Tokyo Rose would get on the radio and say those things?
The best program we could get on the radio was Tokyo Rose every night. She was on the radio in Manila in the Philippines, and we wouldn't miss that program. It had good music and stuff like that.
American music?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tokyo Rose.
And then, did you realize, now let's see, when Japan was bombed, where were you?
Oh, Japan was bombed before we got in the Philippines.
Okay, so it was after that then.
Yeah.
And so, was there, mostly you were being an occupation force then when you got there?
Beg your pardon?
Were you being like an occupation force in Japan?
No,
Or
I
were there
was
some-
with the infantry. We just kept moving on. They brought other guys in that took care of, you know, we kept moving on. And,
How are you talking about the big bomb? You talking
Yeah,
about
the
one of these?
atomic bomb.
Where was
Where
that?
were you when they dropped the atomic
oh,
bomb?
that was before I got over there.
Okay.
Yeah. They dropped one in Hawaii and I forget where the other one was. Well, Tokyo. I was in Tokyo too. In fact, we stopped over in Tokyo coming home one day, and I had to get a train out of there to Yokohama, and that's where I got discharged. I mean, got to come home from the Philippines, Japan.
Was there a lot of damage to Tokyo?
Oh, ships had sunk in the harbor. Yeah, a lot of damage. But I don't know how them people survived. You look at the ships that was damaged and bellies blowed up and things like that. It must have been terrible. I guess when they dropped one of them atomic bombs, they knocked out a square mile about 8 or 10 miles, and that's an awful lot of,
Pretty much leveled everything.
yeah.
How did the people in Japan treat you?
Treat us better than anybody treated us over there. The Philippines are our friendly neighbor. With Japan, they went out of their way. I remember we went in this one town in Japan where we took over an airship and burned up their airplanes. People up there gave us apples, and they were real nice to us. And that place wasn't bombed or anything like that, but they were very nice to us. It's hard to remember everything. I've tried to get it out of my mind. I was on over there in Japan 5 weeks, and I got to come home.
What sort of things do you remember most about your time in the service?
Well, I got to play ball in Pittshaven, New Guinea. I left that to some other ball players over there at the same time. But I think when the word come down that the war was in it, we was going to Japan, I was about the happiest day of my life. I had enough points to come home to the Philippines, but I couldn't get a ship. And then when my lieutenant said, you might well go into Japan with us, you get a ship out of there quick. So that's the reason I went on to Japan.
Okay.
But I had a furlough once supposed to go to Australia, but they canceled all furloughs and I didn't get to go. Just what I was saying, I went out like it was. Some guys had to go before they come down and cancel furloughs, but I didn't get to go. I only had one furlough, and that's when in the States, and I come home for a week or so, and then I went right back.
Now, you said you were married when you went into service. Did you
Yeah.
have any children?
I got one daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was born about a month before I went away.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you got back, she was a pretty big girl then.
She's a mother, and no, she wasn't a mother then, but she married and got 3 grandchildren. I got 3 grandchildren.
So you have now, but not back when you was in army or in the
Yeah.
army. But
So she was a couple years old then when you came home.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have a hard time getting back into the routine of civilian life, or did you just start out playing
Well,
baseball?
I don't think so. I come back to Lebanon, and I knew most everybody in Lebanon, everybody's the same. You miss seeing them when I'm in the service, but no, always when we was in Camp Atterbury, we had to go to school for a week. You know, everybody swore and cussed and everything else when they was overseas, because you live with men and you just got to the place where you didn't care about anything, and you got a bad habit of saying things you shouldn't have said. And they made us go to school for a week for that. But one thing I never will forget, when we got all the training at Spokane, Washington, a big old truck pulled up and was going to haul over to Vancouver Barracks. That's where we went. And we got over to Vancouver Barracks. We tipped our duffel bags off the bus and they rolled all over. Some big red-headed corporal was standing there, been in there about a year or so. He said, "Pick up them duffel bags and form a line of twos, you're gonna march to." I can't tell you what I was going to say to him. He said, "Blow it out, you know what." And everybody went different directions. Didn't pay no attention to him. They hollered, "Get your tongue in, rookie," and all that. Yeah, that was quite an ordeal.
Now, what else did you do? Did you start playing baseball after the war, right after?
Yeah, I come back. I played 4 years, and then I got into scouting and coaching.
Okay.
You know.
And that wasn't any problem getting right back into the swing of things with
No,
baseball?
it wasn't no problem for me. It might have been for some, but it wasn't no problem. Because I loved baseball, and that's all I thought about. And I hated to go when I went, but everybody had to go, you know. You do your part, no sheriff. So I love baseball, and I still do, and I made that my life.
If we had some young people listening to this, tell me some of the people you played baseball with.
Well, I played Lloyd Gerhardt, and he's from Xenia. I played with him, and Bill Haywood, he was a pitcher. Of course, you wouldn't know, he's from South Carolina. And a guy named Meredith, I played with him. I got pictures at home, but I don't have them here with me. You've been in and seen my pictures at home, have you?
You think you're gonna tell her about Pete Rose?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, that's what you did. I signed Pete Rose.
Did you?
I really did. And I played with Pete's uncle, Buddy Bledbine, for about 8 years. He played pro ball too. Yeah, I got Pete Rose and Eddie Brinkman from Cincinnati. I think both those guys were the two best ball players that ever come out of Cincinnati. But I was lucky to get them. But I don't know if you ever seen a Lifetime Major League Pass?
No. Have you got one?
Yeah, I should. I got 2 World Series rings too. I don't wear them. They're heavy, too heavy.
Yeah. So what years were those?
World Series rings was 79 and 83 with Baltimore.
So now, what were you doing in the era of the Big Red Machine? Were you somewhere else?
Well, yeah, I was with Baltimore at that time. Red, you're gonna have to get this out of here.
Oh, no.
My fingers aren't strong. I got arthritis and I pull that there. So you gotta be strong like him.
Oh, how neat.
That's a lifetime pass. It gets me in all Major League Park, clubhouse, and everywhere.
That's wonderful.
We used to go down and sit on Marge's lap. Yeah, he'd run all over. He took me down there one time. We was all over that place.
Oh.
Mr. Thompson, Mr. Thompson.
So, that's really interesting about your baseball career. So,
When I signed with Red, they sent me to Greenville, Mississippi in the Cotton State League. That was where I spent most of my time. Then I was loaned out to Troy, Alabama, and Alabama Florida League. Part of a season there, one of their infielders got hurt, and they needed an extra infielder, and they sent me over to help out for a while. But I did most of my playing in Greenville, Mississippi, Cotton State League.
now where did you go to school?
Waynesville.
Okay. I wanted to get that on record.
I was a bad schoolboy. I know.
What year did you graduate?
No, I quit my junior year,
Okay.
and I went away in baseball.
Okay.
I was raised on a farm right up between Harveysburg and Corbin. That's where I was raised. And I hate farm work, and my dad, I said, I'm going away and play ball. I had a chance to go, and my dad told me, he said, you'll never be a ball player, you're too little. And that's what everybody thought about Pete Rose, too. He was small. He was 5'7", 145 pounds when he signed. But I put my heart and soul in it, and I stayed with it almost 40 years. I should have brought that plaque up I got. Sure.
Well, what would you say to a young man that would be interested in a pro career? What's the most important thing?
In pro ball, if he had all the truth, I'd go get it right now. Don't wait. Sign right now. They pay these guys so much money today, you can't afford not to sign if you can get a contract. When I went away to play pro, I got $72 a month. And I had to borrow money to go home after the season was over.
Now, what year would that have been in the?
I went in 1934. I got out of playing. I got out of playing in 38. 38, and then I went in the war. And then when I went back, I played some more a little bit, but not much after that.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to add to our conversation today?
No, what is this all about?
This is we're going to make a record of this for the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, what?
For the Library of Congress in Washington.
Okay.
And they're trying to get as many veteran stories across the country as they can. And they're just making record of it.
Well, I got your letter, and that's before I went to the hospital, and I couldn't come up here until just now. Red here, he ought to sign up for that too, because he's over in Europe, and he's the other way. But I don't know what else I can tell you. I ain't going to tell you I won the war, because I didn't. There was other people in that side me, and I wouldn't go through it again if I had to. But I'm glad I got through it and got to come home. I was lucky when I got to come home.
Okay. All righty then. Well, thank you.
But what else am I going to tell you?
Do you have something else you need to tell me?
No, I guess not. I can't think. I'm afraid you might think I'm lying if I tell you.
No, I would not.
No, I told you the truth about what I did, and that's about it.
Okay.
He had a lot more action on it than what he told you. I mean,
You got my discharge and all that?
I think she's, you got them, she already made copies of them.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
I got a citation from the President Truman. That's just us 60 guys volunteered to go over with the infantry. That's the only reason I got it. I wasn't no hero or anything like that.
That's what everybody tells me.
did you hear him talk? You think he didn't do nothing?
Yeah.
Wasn't no action. He was in action.
I outrun them bullets, boy.
That ball playing came in handy.
He was a ball player, all right.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry I took up your time.
You didn't take up our time. That's what we're here for. We're glad to have it. Okay.